Alrighty. The I want to do one more video before I crash for the night. My name is Mark. For those that are new to the channel, and you can hit the subscribe button and hit the bell. It'll give you more notifications. It's supposed to let you know when I post videos, and of course, the comments is the biggest factor to helping the channel out, as well as give me a thumbs up if you like the content. With that all being said, what I wanted to talk about right quick, hopefully it's right quick, that do you think that you need to go to a commercial studio in 2022? And I'm going to give you my answer. I still think commercial studios, as far as the acoustic sounds of commercial studios, especially the really, really nice ones, the big ones, especially the big commercial ones, or even if it's a house that's been made into a really nice commercial studio, where they got the acoustics right, the rooms within the rooms, the wiring's correct, the grounding, they have the gear such as the console, the outboard gear if that's needed. They're just going to have the ISO booths for vocals. The drum rooms. The rooms are going to provide the sound. We all know I go through the whole spiel of it, and I honestly think, as far as that advantage, that's always a great advantage. As well as they're going to have staff. They're going to have people. And they're going to have engineers, assistant engineers. A lot of times those studios have lounge places where you can relax when you're not in the live room or in the control room. As most of them are usually secured environments. They provide that in the studio live, that feeling of creating music. They create, when you walk in that studio, it gives you that environment, that feel, that it does. I really don't want to get into the gear of it, because the gear is controversial. It's subjective, as far as even consoles, whether API or a Neve console or an SSL console or a Trident console or a Helios console or an Audient console and so forth, or if it's 11.76s, or if it's this type of compressor, or is that preamp, or those set of EQs, or that set of processors. That's all just choice and subjective, even down to the speakers, even choices of microphones. So, with all that being said, with all that comes a price that you have to pay to rent that studio, the time in it. It could be $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $150, $200, $300, or whatever. Now, my question would be, with all that, do you really need to go to a commercial studio knowing they offer all those type of services? And most of the time, you're going to get the best quality product for your money. Now, I'm going to say yes if these factors come into play. You're recording like a band, and you just don't have the space in your house. Your neighbors, whatever the case, you got neighbors that just complain about the noise because the drums are too loud. The house is not soundproof, so the sound's going to escape. So all the noise that you're hearing, in other words, if you're in a home, if you can hear outside noises like cars with loud stereos, helicopters flying over, dogs barking, ambulances passing, trains going by, airplanes flying overhead, somebody with a really loud V8 exhaust, all those factors, if you can hear that coming, you're in your studio, you can hear that outside, and you can hear inside your studio, you can hear those outside noises. Guess what? Any noises that you're making in here, they can hear. It's the same thing. Sound travels both ways. So I would say yes if you just cannot, you don't have the space, you don't have the acoustics, you don't have the equipment to really do it like you want. The neighbors can be an issue, maybe dogs or pets. Family members are complaining about the noise. They can't watch TV because you're trying to record a band or whatever. Or you might figure that you might want to get the best drum sound or whatever, But that would only really matter if you're trying to record mostly bands, or if you're trying to record orchestras, small piece orchestras or whatever. Anything that's going to be acoustically recorded is going to require a lot of microphones, microphone preamps, things like that. I would say in this day and age, the only thing that would draw people back that they maybe have an issue with trying to do this at home is if they just don't have the knowledge or the experience to understand signal flow, routing, getting your levels proper, what's a good compressor, what's a good compressor on the bus channel, what are bus channels, all these things that you need to learn when it comes to recording and mixing and everything else. If you can do that, most of the time you can do this at home. And especially is genre music specific. In other words, if you're going to use virtual instruments and you're going to use programs like Ableton Live and virtual instruments, and all you need to do is just maybe record your vocals, and you might just better use your audio interface and you can use the mic pre on your interface or maybe an external mic pre. But other than that, you can use maybe plugins for the most part. You might want to use some piece of outboard gear. But for the most part, when it comes to electronic music or EDM music or hip-hop music, trap music, dubstep, anything that you requires use of virtual instruments, maybe even synthesizers, all that. And I would say for me, because I don't need to, because I can do everything here, I can record everything here, and I can use my hallways and my tall ceilings to advance to create the space that I would need. My neighborhood is pretty quiet for the most part, so I don't have to worry about disturbing the neighbors, because my neighborhood is pretty quiet during the day and the evening. So I don't really have too much of an issue of outside noises or making too much noise in here. So for me, my situation is actually ideal. That might not be the same situation for some people. But I honestly think because of the music that I can create and the tools that I use, I just don't never need to go to a commercial studio. I would like to go to commercial studios only to visit, to see the atmosphere of a commercial studio, even though I've been in plenty. But they're still fun to go to. But as far as what they do and how they do and the process of how they create records there, I already know how that's done. I know how to emulate that here. So I don't see a need, and because of that, because I built my studio setup in my house, it isn't the prettiest, fanciest design, but it's definitely, as far as functionality, it works flawlessly. As far as beauty and all that, and having, because my studio still looks cluttered, because I still have a stereo system, and I still have a computer desk over here, speakers, and I got more furniture. I'm still eliminating all that so I can really I'm going to really still eliminate that so I can really create this studio vibe. That's going to be some more changes to the studio. But for the most part, I don't have all the, the glass and, everything that we see when we see in the studio, and how a control room looks, and how you see the typical control room, because my house, it's a house. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm really more worried about functionality than I am appearance. So, with that being said, to wrap up this video, for what I do, which requires nothing, most of everything I create, and all my sounds come from synthesizers, virtual instruments, and my gear I have here, plus I use plugins and everything else. I can do music in here forever and never ever need to go to a commercial studio, which eliminates me even having to pay their hourly rates, because their hourly rates in some studios can get expensive. It can add up quick. Sometimes some studios say, well, we're only charging $150 an hour. Well, $150 an hour can add up when you're on 10-hour days or 12-hour days. $150 an hour, it comes up to about $1,500 for the day. That's for 10 hours. You're alone 12-hour session. Now we're at $1,800 a day. So you do the math, and you need to be in there for at least 2 weeks. You talk 1,800 times 2 weeks, 5 days this week. You do the math. 1,800, 3,600. You do the math. 7,200. You just 3,600, 4,800, 7,200, and then another 1,800 to that. That's 9,000 for the week. 18 grand for 2 weeks. So you do the math. Do you really want to spend that kind of money? All the commercial studios are going to tell you, if you come to their studios, yes, is absolutely worth paying the $150 an hour. Of course they're going to tell you that. Why wouldn't they not say, oh, nah, you don't. They're trying to, this is a business. And these studios are competing with other studios on their same level. So they're competing for clients, because that's how they make money. So of course they're going to tell you that you need to come to a studio, even in 2022. But I'm going to tell you, it's all dependent on if you can do it yourself, if you have the knowledge and experience. If you want to spend the money to go to a commercial studio, I would say go. A good commercial studio that has a reputation should not fail you. But also at the same time, if you are using like me, where I use most of my music is coming from synthesizers, and even down to the drums. I'm using kind of like MPC Studio, and I'm using virtual instruments, and I have my own console, my own rack gear. I have 2 setups, 3 setups, pretty much. I can do everything I need to do, and I've proved that even when I've just done some of my videos where I've created music. I've proven I can do everything here. So I don't need to, but that might not be the case for some people. So to wrap up the video, I just want to get people's thoughts on that. Do you need to go to a commercial studio in 2022? I think it's all dependent on if once again, if you're doing orchestras, you need bands, you need the space. You don't have the gear or the knowledge or experience, then by all means. But if you have the knowledge, the experience, the gear, you can work. You can work with your space and everything else, and you know what you're doing, and you have the gear and the software and the plugins and everything else. Being able to do this at home and not worry about paying any bills, that all the extra costs, and being at home, which means you don't have to travel. You can stay right at home, and your studio is accessible 24 hours a day. Those studios are not accessible 24 hours a day. Also, the one last caveat: if you plan on working with top-end celebrities, trying to get top-end recording artists to come to your studio it's extremely hard. It's not impossible, but it's hard. It just depends. So I would leave it at that. But if you just want to do your home recording studio because you just want to create your music, or you just want to work with some local independent clients that don't mind coming to your home, you don't mind these people coming to your home, and you can work it out that way, or you just want to have your home studio for your own personal use. That's how I look at it. So that's the magic question: do you need to go to commercial studio? I'm really interested in seeing the comments on this. Other than that, thanks for watching. Y'all have a great one.